Good morning, children. Today we are going to talk about the first chapter of our first flight, and the name of this chapter is A Letter to God. Children, all we know that A Letter to God is the first chapter of first flight, and that depends upon that how the main character of this chapter, Lencho. Lencho is the name of main character, and in this chapter, the way he gets many problems due to there is falling of hail. There is hail storm during his crop, and because of that, all the crops which are destroyed. And now we are going to discuss the crux of this chapter, which is we can say that based upon that how the plight of a farmer, which is presented in this chapter. So without getting delay, we just come on the content of this chapter. So here we start the summary, and I'm going to use English for better understanding of our children. So, children, I want to start that from once upon a time there was a farmer for better understanding. Once upon a time there was a farmer. His name was Lencho, who was a middle class, we can say, farm family he has, and two children were there. And he had one small family. They're staying in a valley, yeah, and some plots were there, some meadows, we can say, were there with him, where he used to plant some crops in his field. One day he was expecting for the rain for the better for the better production of the crop, but instead of that rain, there came the hailstone. Hailstone, as you know, that we tell that ole, yeah. तो वो जैसा कि एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे कि अब आज बारिश होगी, और बारिश की वजह से उनका जो क्रॉप है इट विल बी गुड, एंड देयर विल बी द गुड प्रोडक्शन इन हिज मिडो. But instead of rain, there came the hailstone. It was the time of evening, and where his wife was cooking their dinner, and children though who were playing outside, they're also enjoying. It was cloudy sky, and they're expecting that rain will come, and this will be good for them. This will be there will be good production in the meadow, and they are going to be happy, and they are going to be prosperous. But when it started to rain, in the beginning it came some droplets of the rain, and but that rain changed into hailstorm. Suddenly it started to blow the very we can say fast wind, and suddenly there all hailstones, they started to fall on the ground, and everywhere it became all white on the floor. And children, they started to play by collecting the hailstone. But whereas we talk about Lencho, his mind became very upset. He became very upset after watching that moment of the hailstone. And when he moved to crop, he found next day he found that all the crops, they are destroyed due to the hailstone. He became very upset, and in that catastrophe he had no any idea that who was going to help him, who was going to give him crop, or who was going to give him money to buy the crop for the survival of his family. Then he left all the hopes, and only one hope was there, that now the God is there, only Almighty God is there, जो कि उनकी help कर सकते हैं. So that Sunday, he sat with a pen and a paper, and he wrote a letter to the God. And in that letter, he wrote that God, anyhow, you send me 100 pesos. यहाँ पे pesos वर्ड यूज किया गया है, जो कि अल्टीमेटली वहाँ के जिस कंट्री से ये चैप्टर बिलोंग करता है वहाँ के मनी को वो शो करता है. So here we can say that कि Lencho, he asked for money from God's side, and he wrote the letter that God, in this time of catastrophe, you are only the hope of me. The way you found that disaster of hailstone that came and everything is destroyed now, all the crops had gone, and now I have no anything to survive my family. And then next day he went to the post office and he dropped that letter in the letter box. After that he came back to his house and he was very upset. So what happened that when the post office employee he came, and postman we can say, or he opened that letter box and he found that where signed deliver address is written as that God. After watching that, he was shocked that what sort of man, what sort of faith is there, the way he had written deliver addresses to God. Then he started to smile, and then he went to the office, we can say he went to the cabin of Postmaster. And he showed that letter. When Postmaster watched that letter, he was also very shocked, and after watching that letter, they all started to laugh by watching the foolishness of that man. But whereas on the other hand, Postmaster became a little bit worried about the matter. He was a little bit, we can say, thought about the matter that if a person he believed upon God, that God is the man, or God is only one hope there who is going to help me, as the demand of 100 pesos was there, the postmaster ordered, or he requested to all the employees of post office to help that man by giving a little bit donation from the salary. All collected, and the total collection, it became 70 pesos, and they all put that 70 pesos in that again in the envelope, and they decided to give that to the man. Coming Sunday again, that man came to the post office, and when he reached there, he asked the same postman that is there any letter to him, and postman said yes, there is a letter to you. And he came with that letter and he gave that letter to him. When he opened the letter, he became angry by watching that only 70 pesos were there. As we know that the demand was how much? The demand was of 100 pesos. But in place of 100 pesos, only 70 pesos were there. He became angry, and he directly again went upon that counter of again where that all he got an again postcard, and by sitting there nearby the table, he started again to write. All the postmaster and all the employees, they are watching very nicely to him that what he is going to do after getting that. And after again he dropped that letter to the letter box and he went away from there. After his departure, again the postman got that letter, and it was written that God, I had the great faith upon you, and as I had demanded 100 pesos from you, but in place of 100 pesos, I got only 70 pesos. I thought these employees of the post office, they are bunch of crooks, and remaining 30 pesos, they are, I think, stolen by them. So I cannot survive my family in 70 pesos. Anyhow, you send me 30 pesos more, but don't send in this post office, because these employees are bunch of, the special words are used by the author here, bunch of crooks. Bunch of crooks means जो लोग dishonest होते हैं. Yeah, bunch of crooks means dishonest. मतलब they have stolen the rest of 30 pesos. The way faith has shown there that God had sent him 100 pesos, but in place of 100 pesos they had stolen 30 pesos from there, and only they put in envelope 30 pesos. So the postmaster and all the employees, they are shocked by watching this letter again. So now we discuss something, some we can say crux and some keywords and all those things. There's bunch of groups which are which is used here for those people who are dishonest and all those things, and other things are there, hailstone and all these things, that as he was expecting that rain will come, to in place of or instead of rain it came the hailstone, which destroyed the entire crop of that farmer Lencho. Here some questions we can discuss, that why did the postmaster put 70 pesos, or why did the employees of post office they collect 70 pesos. So we can say that the employees of the post office or the postmaster, he could not break the faith of that farmer Lencho, and that's why he collected 70 pesos from the employee's side and he put that in the envelope. They wanted to give something, they wanted to give some donation to him from their side. Again we can discuss the question that what were the things which destroyed, and what was the matter Lencho was expecting that evening. So we can say Lencho was expecting for the good rain, which is going to make him prosperous and which is going to give him the good harvest after the rain, which was required from the crop side. And but in place of that rain, what came there? Hailstone came, and which destroyed all the crop of Lencho. So, and which also make Lencho very upset, very sad here. So thank you. It was the first chapter, a letter to God from first flight. Again I will post another chapter summary and crux and some questions and the keywords from the second chapter and other chapters also from the first flight. Thank you.